Hello, happiness abounders, and welcome back. We are continuing our theme week or our 5-episode series all about reconnecting with yourself. Yesterday, I spoke about how it's important and why we need to reconnect with ourselves, especially when we are trying to do new things in our lives, creating new routines, new goals, etc. So, how can we reconnect with ourselves, right? Yesterday, I addressed the why, but how can we do this? One of my favorite ways to do this is through journaling. I love to journal. So that's what today's topic is all about. And you may have heard me say this before, but I kind of had this thing where I loved journaling and then I completely stopped for a really long time. And that was because I thought that I had to, there was some unwritten rule that I had to journal every night before bed. And by the time that time would come, I didn't want to do it. So I would postpone and I would not journal. So a long amount of time went by where I didn't journal and I didn't take advantage of this amazing reconnection tool. And I really felt it. This was during the time where I was really angry all the time. It was during the time where I really felt like a poor picked on victim. It was during a time where I was really prone to depression and big mood swings. It would go from anger to debilitating sadness and then back to anger. And it would just kind of pass each other off between those two emotions. And a lot of it was because I didn't have any connection with myself. I wasn't instigating any tool or tools to really reconnect to who I was and figure that out. So I was stagnant, I was angry, and I had this unwritten rule that journaling had to happen every night before bed. So I would climb into bed, look over at my journal, and go, I'm too tired. I'm not going to write today. I'll make it up tomorrow. Well, then tomorrow would come, and I'd get into bed, and I'd look at my journal, and I'd go, well, now I have to make up for yesterday and all the things that happened today and tell all the stories of the 2 days. That's going to take me forever, and I'm so tired. I'll do it tomorrow. And this was the lie I would tell myself, is that I will journal tomorrow. But it all stemmed from this belief that I had to journal at night and the belief that I had to journal extreme details. Like I had to share full details of all these experiences and all these things going on over these days, which is not necessarily the case. But it held me back. These two beliefs, that I had to share all the details and that it had to be at night, held me back from writing in my journal. Another thought that held me back from writing in my journal was that I didn't want anybody to read it. So I couldn't be my most authentic self because I was fearful someone would find it and read it. And not that I was doing anything wrong, I just didn't want other people to know I was sad, angry, and bitter. I don't know. But I thought other people would read it. So then I didn't journal there either. So really, I just had all of these emotions and all of these stories that contributed to these emotions that were these big mood swings of anger and sadness. And I was just holding on to them. And when we hold on to those things, when we hold on to negative emotions, when we hold on to negative stories, we feel it. And we feel it through a disconnection of who we used to be or who we want to be, because we're too busy holding on to these things that we may not necessarily want. Let me ask if this has happened, because this has happened to me. Has it happened to you? Where you're slighted by somebody, like somebody does something that you think is wrong to you. And you're like, man, I'm never going to forget this. And you may not necessarily think that, but it's like subconsciously you're like, that's it. Like, never going to forget that this person did this to me. And some time goes by, and then you tell somebody the story of what happened. Some more time goes by, and you tell somebody else the story of what happened. And you're telling them for a couple of reasons. One, you want to maintain your anger, because if it's maintained, it feels justified. So if you tell other people, you're maintaining and re-justifying it and getting them on your side. But then also, you're retelling it so you don't forget it, because you don't want to forget it. And what's happening when that happens? All of that is living in your body, living in your mind. And so then you're holding on to these stories, you're holding on to these emotions for what? So that you can feel justified in these things? You're holding on to these things so that you can hold on. But it's really causing a disconnect from who you want to be. It's causing a disconnect from your ability to get your goals. It's causing a disconnect from your ability to even see goals. Like, I talk about goals a lot, but I've had people attend my vision board classes and be like, or ask me, should I attend? They haven't ended up attending. They have. But, hey, I don't know if I should attend your vision board class. Like, I don't even have any goals. I get that. One of the reasons you don't have goals is it's so hard to see into the future. It's so hard to see what life could be like and set a goal for that next level, that pathway forward, when we're too busy holding on to the negative emotions and negative stories of the past. So I hope you can see, because what I'm getting to is journaling is a fantastic way to do this, to release all of those things. And here's why. If it's something you don't want somebody else to read, write it in on a legal pad of paper, get it all out of you and throw it away. Burn it, rip it, so then nobody reads it, but it's out of you. Now, if it's in that like memory bank thing where you're like, I'm not just trying to get rid of emotions, but I want to hold on to this story, write it in your journal, because guess what? If there's ever a time, and I've never needed it, but if there is ever a time where you want to go back and pull up the facts, it's in your journal. You don't need to keep it in your head. You don't need to keep it in your body. It's in your journal. Somebody wants to question it. Truth be told, there's a lot more fact in I wrote this 2 weeks after it happened versus 8 months later and I'm still telling it, and it's slightly twisted because I'm continuing to try and justify my anger. If for whatever reason you need to tell the story of what happened to you, flip to page, April 17th, 2015, this story happened. Here's how it happened 2 weeks after the fact, or 2 days, or 2 hours after the fact. There. Now you have your proof. You don't need to hold on to it. And I've never had to do that, by the way. Ever. But it's there if I ever needed it. But it helps me justify, like, I can get this out. I can get this out of me. It's recorded. That has a lot more proof behind it. That has a lot more validation behind it that it's written down versus me continuing to tell it. Gets it out of my body. It's written down if I actually do ever need to remember it and recall the stories or the emotions. Gets the emotions out of my body. And then I can breathe. And then I can reconnect with myself. So then that goes back to my first problems, which were I felt I had to write every single detail, which when you're trying to write stories and get out emotions, you can write all the details to get them out of you. But for everyday stuff where it's like, hey, life's great. Things are going well. The kids are fantastic. So-and-so had a play and did this part at school. Whatever that is, you can do quick sentences. It doesn't have to be full details of where you sat in the front row at Johnny's play. It can just be, we went in the front row. Johnny did fantastic. He played the monkey. And you can call it at that. I'm so proud. It doesn't have to be full details. And it doesn't have to be before bed. I discovered my peak journaling time is when I wake up in the mornings because it's quiet. I have time to get it all out of me and then I start my day. Amazing. But when I think I have to do it at night, it puts all this undue pressure on me when I'm so tired. I'm not fresh. And then I'm trying to recall all these things when I want to really just go to sleep. And then it's frustrating and I don't want to do it. So a couple key things from this to take away. 1, don't journal because of some unwritten rules you have. Journal because it's one of the best ways to reconnect to who you are, to let go of your negative emotions, to record and document those stories so they don't live in your head, so that you can now see your goals, your next paths, so that you can now see who you want to be and you can reconnect to who you want to be. So don't let those unwritten rules, air quotes around rules, stop you. You've got this. So try journaling, try a time that works for you, try a journaling technique that works for you, but whatever you do, make sure you journal to reconnect with yourself. So that said, have a wonderful day, and remember, you are capable of happiness abound.